Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys the series episode preview discussion. This time I'm talking about the preview for episode 114, so let's get to it. In episode 114, Paul will return and he will battle Ash. Now about 2 weeks ago, this episode was revealed alongside its title. I made a video about it on the very same day that it was revealed. This episode was also shown in one of the latest special previews, and I talked about what the special preview showed of this episode in that video as well. Since I only had the title of the episode and a short clip in the special preview to go on, there really wasn't much information to go over, though there was enough information for me to speculate plenty. Still, precisely because there wasn't that much information on the episode back then, I said that I would revisit the episode once the actual preview for it was out. This is of course what I will do in this video. I will still leave a link to the previous video I made on episode 114 in the description below and at the end of this video, so that you can go watch that video if you haven't already. While that video might not have much to offer now, especially when compared to this one, you can still go watch it if you wish. It does also cover episode 115, so the video does have some additional value. Though I did also revisit episode 115 in another video, which I will link as well. So let's get to the preview now, shall we? The preview begins with Ash saying that the Masters Tournament is almost here. He then says to his Pokemon, let's all get fired up, and get to training. Sirfetch'd is then seen deflecting attacks from an unknown Pokemon. This is likely part of the training. Paul then appears alongside his Electivire. Paul seems to emerge from the forest. Based on all of this, I guess that I was right in my previous video on this episode, when I said that Ash would probably decide to head out to get some extra training so that he can be in the best shape possible for the opening ceremony of the Masters Tournament, and that he would just happen to run into Paul. The preview does not reveal, however, whose idea it is to battle. After he shows up, Paul says to Ash, "You are hopeless. At least to be aware of your partner's condition." Imagine having Paul of all people tell you to be kinder to your Pokemon. Paul really has come a long way. Now I guess that Ash might push one of his Pokemon too far during training, which might lead to an accident or something like this. And Paul just happens to be in the area to witness this. It is also possible that he might intervene to help Ash and his Pokemon. Hence why Electivire is present, though maybe Paul was just training in the area. Now it's interesting that the preview shows that Ash's Charizard, Infernape, Quilava, Pignite, and the Talonflame will appear in this episode alongside the Professor Oak. I definitely did not think that we would see some of Ash's old Pokemon in this episode, so this is a nice and welcomed surprise. It's worth noting that these same Pokemon, which are all Fire-type Pokemon, also appeared in episode 68 of Pokemon Journeys, where they had a fair bit of screen time, Infernape especially. And the three of them, Charizard, Infernape, and the Pignite, were shown in the special preview for episode 115. They were seen watching the opening ceremony for the Masters Tournament. So Ash's Fire-type Pokemon have been getting quite a bit of focus, which is cool. However, for whatever reason, Ash's Torkoal is excluded. It is the only one of Ash's Fire-type Pokemon that did not appear in episode 68, and it is not shown here in the preview of episode 114 either. Did the writers forget about Torkoal? Perhaps, since I really cannot think of another reason why they would exclude Torkoal when they have the rest of Ash's Fire-type Pokemon show up together. Also, since Ash is talking about the training in preparation for the Masters Tournament, and he decides to visit his old Pokemon, this gives me hope that maybe Ash will use some of his old Pokemon for his upcoming battles. This also means that maybe he does not go to train to some random place. Maybe he chooses to have his Journeys team train by battling his old Pokemon. This would be very cool. Also, this would explain why Sirfetch'd is deflecting a move that does not look like any of the moves that Ash's Pokemon from his Journeys team can use. This move looks like Razor Leaf, so maybe Sirfetch'd is battling Bulbasaur or Bayleaf or another one of Ash's Grass-type Pokemon. Bulbasaur was my first guess because in episode 68, Bulbasaur was with the Fire-type Pokemon near the end of the episode, and I joked in my review of episode 68 that perhaps Bulbasaur is an honorary member of the Fire-type club, or that Bulbasaur is standing in for Torkoal. Also, since Infernape will appear in this episode, he will get to see Paul, which should be interesting. Moving on, the preview then shows the battle between Ash and Paul, starting with Dragonite versus Garchomp. This confirms that Paul does indeed have a Garchomp. I was sure that this was the case, but this had not been confirmed yet. This should be a good fight since it is a battle between pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Now it seemed like this battle would just be one-on-one, going by the information that was available. But the preview reveals that the battle will actually be 3-on-3, which is very exciting. The preview shows Gengar versus Metagross, so Paul has a Metagross as well, another pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Next, the preview shows Gyarados versus Lucario, meaning that Paul also has a Gyarados. Paul does say in the preview 3v3, no substitutions, confirming that yes, the battle will be 3-on-3. It's so awesome that the battle will be longer than we thought. I cannot wait to see this epic showdown. Now it is worth noting that the 3 Pokemon Paul will use in this battle are Pokemon that are used by members of the Masters 8. More importantly, these are the main/poster Pokemon for said members of the Masters 8. Cynthia has Garchomp, Steven has Metagross, and Lance has Gyarados. I have said in the past that I think that Dragonite is Lance's main Pokemon, but here in Pokemon Journeys, it's clearly Gyarados. So, since this is supposed to be a training battle, Paul will do an amazing job of helping Ash prepare for the Masters Tournament by facing Ash using 3 of the Pokemon that Ash might face in the tournament. I wonder if Paul will do this on purpose. If so, then props to him. He is quite kind and considerate. Also, I wonder if this is hinting at the fact that Ash will battle Cynthia, Steven, and Lance. It's possible considering that they just happen to be the only members of the Masters 8 that Ash has never battled. There is also the fact that the special preview for episode 115 showed that Ash will battle Steven, and there was a leak that suggested that Ash would battle Lance. So perhaps in Ash's battle with Paul, they are foreshadowing who Ash will battle in the tournament. They might also be hinting at which one of Ash's Pokemon will play a significant role against the corresponding member of the Masters 8. It is worth noting as well that in the preview, they show Garchomp first, then Metagross, and then Gyarados. This will likely also be the order the battle follows in the actual episode. Cynthia is rank 2, right below her is Steven in rank 3, and below him is Lance in rank 4. So, the same order. I bet that this is not a coincidence. The preview ends with Paul saying his catchphrase, "Battle, stand by!" It's cool to hear him say this after so long. And this is the perfect way to end the preview, since it builds up the hype quite well. Because upon hearing this iconic line, you know that Paul means business. Also, I do want to talk about who will win this battle. Given that it will be a training battle, there will be no stakes. So it really does not matter who wins or loses, since they really will not get or lose anything. But if I had to guess, then I think that Ash will win, simply because he has won all his recent battles. Also, he has defeated multiple gym leaders, a former champion, a current champion, and an Elite Four member. So surely, Ash can defeat Paul, especially since Ash defeated Paul once already. Also, it would look pretty bad if Ash, who is in the Masters 8, ends up losing to someone right before the Masters Tournament. Finally, I do want to say that the preview does not reveal if Paul is participating in the World Coronation Series or not. I said in my previous video on this episode that I don't think that he is, since he is not in the Master Class. Thus, he could only be ranked below Ash, which means that they would not be able to have an official battle, which is why their battle will only be a training battle. But several people said in the comments of that video that maybe Paul is in the World Coronation Series. but he was not able to make it into the masterclass because Cynthia defeated him. This idea was born from the fact that Paul has a Garchomp now, which he might have captured precisely because he got another taste of Garchomp's immense power. Though now we know that Paul also has a Metagross and a Gyarados. So assuming that the previous statement is true, I guess that he was also defeated by Steven and Lance. In frustration, Paul got the main Pokemon of each of them, hoping to one day get his revenge. And when he finds Ash, who is in a position to battle Cynthia, Steven, and Lance, Paul decides to use everything he obtained and prepared for his revenge to train Ash, so that Ash can get revenge for Paul, so that Ash can succeed where Paul failed. This is a very interesting theory. But if it turns out that Paul is in fact not in the World Carnation series, then I wonder why. Has he been too busy trying to defeat Brandon? This is something that I predicted in my previous video on this episode. In any case, I just hope that we learn what Paul has been up to, his reason for wanting to help Ash train, and why he just happens to own 3 Pokemon used by 3 members of the Masters 8. But yeah, that's everything I have for you in this video. Episode 114 will definitely be an amazing and spectacular episode. I really cannot wait to watch it. Episode 114 will air on June 10. As usual, once the episode airs, I will upload a video review for it as soon as possible. So please look forward to it. But that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching and let's meet again in the next video.